and the opponent swaps out into a Charizard. Here comes the Aerodactyl. Bye bye Charizard. That was one of the quickest takeouts I've ever seen in Go Battle League. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Ruben Yap, thank you for the support. In today's video, we are shoutcasting some more battles from the Kanto Cup. These battles were submitted to the channel by Sadish11. These battles feature Alolan Marowak in the lead and a double shadow team in the back consisting of Machamp and Aerodactyl. So obviously a very glassy team, especially with the double shadows in the back. Aerodactyl, a very fun pick and something you don't see too often, but it does have some play in the Kanto Cup. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please make sure you smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And without any further ado, let's jump into the first battle right now. Alright, so this Shadow Aerodactyl is single moved, as you could see. This player did not want to invest in the second move, which is understandable for the Kanto Cup. You know, it's kind of a meaningless week, no ratings, so no real point to invest into things. But if you are going to be running Aerodactyl with a single move, I'd probably recommend going Rock Slide as opposed to Ancient Power, because they do cost the same amount of energy, and Rock Slide is doing a lot more damage. Ancient Power is a pretty bad move, aside from fishing for the boost, so I'd recommend Rock Slide and then Earth Power as a second move if you get it. Here we see that the opponent did come in for Snorlax, gets hard countered by the Shadow Machamp, and we see the Ninetales come in. Of course, the Machamp did farm down, so there's a lot of energy right here and going to start applying a lot of pressure to these shields from the opponent here, who does actually burn both shields. And it looks like the opponent's going for a very aggressive farm down here, which means the Machamp's going to get to a cross chop. This is not going to knock out the Ninetales, but look at this. Aerodactyl comes in and snipes the Ninetales, takes it out. A Rhydon in the back, which actually isn't too great. However, with the shield advantage, should be okay here. Although this is another situation where having Rock Slide, of course, would benefit. But as soon as I say that, of course, they're going to get the boost, showing that Ancient Power has some play if you win the lottery and get the boost each time. But the opponent backs out. You know what that means. They don't want the smoke. Next battle, Alolan Graveler into Alolan Marowak. Battle of the Alolan Pokemon right here, and Graveler is going to win this matchup, obviously doing super effective damage with the charge moves, and the Marowak's staying in here, so pretty interesting. Of course, can't really swap out because the only counter is the Machamp. The Graveler's going to have a good matchup here against both the Marowak and the Aerodactyl. Opponent actually only went there for a Rock Blast, so they did no shield that, land the Shadow Bone here, and going to get to a second one here. So this opponent building up a lot of energy here, and going to shield that up, and look at this, swaps out into Machamp for a second snipe in 2 games, takes away all that energy, plus they got a shield from the Graveler. That opponent is definitely shaking their head right now, probably punching the wall. Things are not looking good for the opponent here. Venusaur comes in, is down a shield here, now they're going to be down 2 shields, so the Machamp probably going to shield up here, see if they can get to one more Rock Slide, and they should actually get to it at the same time as the Frenzy Plant because of that slight energy lead they got by sniping that Alolan Graveler. So the Rock Slide comes through, takes out the Venusaur, a Blastoise in the back, and once again, a pretty difficult lead in the back for the Aerodactyl and the Marowak. So things aren't looking too great, but they do have a shield here. Let's see if this Aerodactyl once again gets the Ancient Power boost. Hydro Cannon comes through, it's going to do a lot of damage. Let's get the shield and going for the Ancient Power right here. This probably won't be enough to take out the Blastoise here, but should be able to. Oh, actually it is enough. So Ancient Power, it's a Shadow. Keep forgetting this is a Shadow Aerodactyl, so the damage is going to be a lot higher. Takes out the Blastoise there. GG's. Next matchup, we got Alolan Marowak into Alolan Sandslash. So a lot of Alolan Pokemon in the Kanto Cup, of course. Some people don't like that Alolans are allowed. Other people think that it's necessary. Again, this is, you know, it's a week where there's no rating, so it really shouldn't be too important what's allowed, what's not allowed, but I could kind of understand both sides here. The Snorlax once again comes in, and Machamp comes, farms it down, and we see Alolan Marowak come in. So Rock Slide, of course, doing a lot of damage here, coming from the Shadow Machamp. So we do see a shield come up and build it up to another move. Actually, I'm going to go for the bait here with Cross Chop. So let's see if the opponent goes for the second shield. It's a big risky player here. They do get the shield, which is huge because the opponent's going for the farm down here, and that means that the Rock Slide's going to come through once again. Not enough to take out the Marowak, but look at this. Another snipe from the Aerodactyl. This guy is a professional sniper. They leave the match. What does that mean? You guys already know. I don't have to say it. The opponent leaves the match. Only one reason for that. They got sniped. Snorlax into Marowak. This is a horrible lead for the Marowak here, of course. Running Hex, so no Fire Spin, is going to get to that Fire Blast a lot quicker, but even Fire Blast isn't going to be enough to take out the Snorlax. Let's see if they decide to shield this though. They let it go through. That does a lot of damage, and here comes the snipe again. This guy literally out here spraying everything with the AK-47. These opponents must be so cheesed out of their damn mind. Getting sniped left, right, and center. Man, I have not seen this much sniping in a long time here. I feel like I'm playing Call of Duty or something as opposed to Pokemon Go. But we got Hypno coming into the Marowak. Gonna let that go through to Psychic. Actually, no, there was a shield that came up. Never mind. And Machamp comes in. Gonna have to eat this Shadow Bone right here. Let's see if the opponent wants to shield up this move right here. They do. And now they're down to 0 shields. Swaps out into the Machamp. Gonna take this move here. Could be a Rock Slide, of course, which will be resisted by the Machamp. And look at this. Look at this. What do we have here? Looks like the opponent did not want the smoke. They definitely left the match right there. The third shield comes up. No damage. Farm down. Last Pokemon's not even coming out. You already know what time it is. Nobody wants the smoke in this video. Everybody's getting sniped out here. Everybody's catching smoke. There is crazy stuff going on in this video right here. We got Alolan Marowak into a Wigglytuff. And this is actually, I don't know how this match will play out with the Hex here. Because, you know, both moves are being resisted. But of course, Hex is doing nothing. So it really comes down to Fire Blast. And I would imagine that Wigglytuff could win this. If anything, at least in the 2 shields. Just going straight charm damage. So here comes the Fire Blast. They're going to shield that up. So we're not going to see a snipe this time. At least not the first one. Can they get to a second Fire Blast here? Going to use a shield so they can get to the second Fire Blast. And let's see if the Wigglytuff actually wants to burn the shield here. Not actually sure if this would knock out the Wigglytuff. It probably would, to be honest. Fire Blast probably doing a lot of damage here. So it does get the second shield. And they swap out into Aerodactyl, which is taking a lot of damage here from these charms. Going to burn the shield. And at this point, they really want to get rid of this Wigglytuff, because the Machamp in the back does not want to see it, but the opponent swaps out into Muck. So things are not looking too good here, because you're going to have that Machamp aligned onto the Wigglytuff at some points here, and the Muck's going to take out the Aerodactyl here. So at this point, the play has to come in with the Machamp. Of course, you have to farm down completely, have some energy, and hopefully be able to throw a move at the Wigglytuff before it could get a lot of charm damage off, and hope that there's something in the back. So actually, we're farming here takes an extra 2 charms, which is a very risky play there. I don't know if I would have done that. I probably would have just thrown immediately, assuming that this Cross Chop probably would have been enough to KO. If it was, there's a Ninetales in the back, so not able to get to the Rock Slide there. The thing is, if they had more health on the Machamp from throwing earlier, I think that this Ninetales probably would have had to have thrown a move at the Machamp, and then maybe Shadow Bone could have taken out the Ninetales. Probably still wouldn't, but goes 4-1, still a very positive set. So we have a second set here for this video, still running the same line, Alolan Marowak, Aerodactyl, Machamp in the back. Marowak into a Hypno here, a very nice lead for the Marowak, and the opponent swaps out into a Charizard. Here comes the Aerodactyl. Bye-bye Charizard. That was one of the quickest takeouts I've ever seen in Go Battle League. Oh my goodness, that Charizard definitely caught the work right there. Aerodactyl gonna throw the Ancient Power at the Hypno, and gonna get farmed down here most likely by Confusion, which is not great, but did get that Hypno quite low here. Probably come in with the Marowak. Most Hypnos are running Shadow Ball in this meta, so kind of have to be a little bit afraid of that. So going to shield up here. Shadow Ball does come through. A nice shield. Going to go for the Shadow Bone here. And let's see if the opponent wants to shield this to get off a second Shadow Ball, or possibly save that energy and dip out. They're going to go for the move here. Most likely going to be a Shadow Ball, because it's unlikely they'll get to a second move here. So they do go for the Shadow Ball. Now they swap out into a Gyarados. So it's going to be some nice chip damage coming here from the Marowak. Shadow Bone comes through, and we see the Machamp come in. Really wants to get to this Cross Chop before taking an Aqua Tail, because Hypno is going to obliterate this thing with the Confusion damage. So here comes the Hypno. Can the Machamp get to the move? Able to get to the cross chop here. This is going to be enough to take out the Hypno here. And a very nice win there. Of course, Machamp flexing its muscles right there. Absolute monster. Has no mercy for any Pokemon in this meta. Let's hop into the next matchup here. So Aerodactyl here, single moved. Looking pretty solid so far. You know, a lot of these matchups with Aerodactyl come down to raw rock throw damage anyways. We got a pretty bad lead here. And this is actually a waterfall Gyarados. So this is pretty horrible for pretty much this whole lineup, actually, if you think about it. So they do swap out into Aerodactyl. And Aerodactyl is not going to appreciate these waterfalls. Let's see if the opponent decides to stay in here. Aqua Tail comes through. They swap out into Alolan Sandslash instead. And now, you know, this game becomes a little bit more playable because you're going to throw this Ancient Power here. Let's see if the opponent shields this up. They do. And now this is great because they're going to throw energy. Let the Aerodactyl go down here. You could come in with the Machamp and probably farm this thing down completely, which means that Machamp might be able to sweep this team depending on what is in the back. Here comes Machamp, able to farm down the Alolan Sandslash. That was very easy, being a shadow right there. Opponent backs out. They don't want the smoke. Let's hop into the next battle. Yuki 3, M8D in the next matchup. We got Alolan Marowak into a Hypno. So a lot of Hypnos here in the Kanto Cup, which makes a lot of sense. Opponent swaps out into a Lickitung. Here comes Machamp. You love seeing these normal types come in as the safe swap when you have a Shadow Machamp in the back. Going to shield up a move here. It is a Body Slam. And maybe commit to the full farm now. No, going to go for the cross chop here. So not the most optimal situation here. Did burn a shield and did also throw energy. Still have a lot of health left on the Machamp, of course, but that just means more farm for the Hypno technically. So this is actually looking pretty bad here. We'll get off a Rock Slide here, which is nice at least, but let's see if the Hypno wants to shield this. They do not make sense. No point really to shield there. Come back in with the Marowak. Things are not looking too good right now for this team. Marowak coming in. Could be a Shadow Ball. So let's see if the shield comes up here. Going to shield at the last second. It does correctly call the Shadow Ball. They are down 2 shields to 0 now. Going to throw a Shadow Bone at this Hypno. Probably will see a shield come up here from the Hypno. And let's see if the Hypno could actually get to another Shadow Ball here. No, Shadow Bone comes first. So we might see the Hypno double shield here and look to get off this Shadow Bone. Marowak might swap out to land this on the Aerodactyl. Oh, I don't know how I feel about this though, because it's going to do a lot of damage. And now the Aerodactyl might be able to get farmed. That's a Ninetales in the back. Oh my goodness. They could have actually probably won this game. They over-tapped there on the Hex. I don't think Shadow Bone would have been enough to KO anyways. So maybe it wouldn't have mattered. Or maybe they were going for the Fire Blast. No, they were going for the Shadow Bone, of course. But I don't think it would have KO'd anyways, even if they didn't overtap. So ended up losing that game there. Pretty tough situation. I think catching on the Aerodactyl. Well, I mean, in hindsight, seeing that they have a Ninetales in the back, obviously keeping Aerodactyl would have ended up winning them the game. But we couldn't have predicted that they had Ninetales. But I still think throwing Aerodactyl out there to take that much damage from his Shadow Ball, pretty risky play. But of course, if they had something weak to Marowak in the back, then it would have been a great play. So easy to say once we see the actual end result of the battle here. So the opponent swaps out here of a pretty solid matchup with Mew and Marowak into a Snorlax, which is actually an excellent catch on their part because they catch the Shadow Bone onto the Snorlax, but unfortunately for the opponent, there's a Machamp in the back, which is going to obliterate this Snorlax, literally eat it for dinner. And now the Mew comes back in. It's going to have to take a move here from the Machamp. Now let's see if they shield this, thinking it's a Rock Slide, or let it go through. Great no shield there from the opponent, definitely knowing the count, calling the cross chop right there. So no shield, going to be able to take out this Machamp here while farming energy. Opponent's playing very well right here, and they get sniped. So look at that. Arrow back at it again with the snipes. Ninetales in the back. Another opponent leaves. They don't want the smoke. That must be so infuriating to farm down, play amazingly. They played that game amazingly. And then Aerodactyl, a single move to Aerodactyl comes in there, snipes you, makes you want to leave the match. It hurts. It's really painful. We got Marowak into Ninetales here in the next matchup. This is a solid lead. And this is pretty good for the whole team, pretty much. So let's see what comes through here. It is a Side Shock. Gonna throw this Shadow Ball here at the Ninetales, and let's see what the opponent is going to choose to do here. This Ninetales really doesn't have much play here. So they bring in the Snorlax. Here comes Machamp once again. We've been seeing a lot of normal type safe switches here. So it seems like having a Machamp in the back is a very strong strategy for the Kanto Cup. based on what we're seeing here in this video, they get farmed down completely. And now this Machamp is absolutely loaded on energy. We see a Wigglytuff come in, so probably gonna have to eat 2 moves here. Probably 2 cross chops. We might be able to see that. Yeah, so cross chop comes in here again, so that's a second one right here. Let's see if the opponent's going to shield this one up. They're probably not going to, I already used 1 shield. And gets farmed down. And now you could, yeah, I guess you come in with Aerodactyl, it doesn't make sense to come in with the Marowak. I guess the players to farm down completely with Aerodactyl. Can they do it? Yes, they can. Ninetales gonna catch this ancient power. Opponent might not even shield this because this game is basically over. They let it go through. They didn't want the smoke. Nobody wanted the smoke in this video. There were guns being thrown left, right, and center. Crazy battles. Goes 4-1 in back-to-back sets. So those were the battles featuring Shadow Aerodactyl, actually a double Shadow team in the back there with Machamp. Aerodactyl, one of my favorite Pokemon designs of all time, especially for Kanto, and it's a pretty solid Pokemon for this particular meta. Of course, if you're going to use a double moved Aerodactyl, I recommend going Rock Slide, Earth Power, Ancient Power pretty much for the boost, but that's kind of a lottery in itself. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.